So what we want to be able to do in this section is to be able to actually graph polar curves. And we're going to use a couple of tools to do that. One of the tools that we're going to use first before we plot points is we're going to check for symmetries. Those can be really, really useful in graphing polar equations. So let's talk about three types of symmetry. The first is symmetry over the x-axis. Now, in polar coordinates, the x-axis is actually called the polar axis. So that corresponds to the x-axis in rectangular coordinates. So symmetry over the x-axis means that if the point r theta is on the graph of our equation, then the point r negative theta is also on the graph of our equation. Because negative theta is in the clockwise direction and theta is in the counterclockwise direction. So we want both of those points to be on the graph. Another way of saying this, let's suppose that r is a function that depends on theta. Another way of checking here would be, well then, when I put in negative theta into my function, I get the same radius as when I just put in theta. So this is how we will check symmetry over the polar axis. The second type of symmetry is over the y-axis in rectangular coordinates. So in polar coordinates, that would be symmetry over the line theta equals pi over 2, because that makes 90 degrees with the x-axis. So that's over the y-axis in rectangular coordinates. So how do we check for that? Well, if we think about what we're looking for, that means if this is the point r theta, we want a point here to be on the graph also. And so if this is theta, then this angle here will be pi minus theta. And so we're looking for r and pi minus theta because we're assuming that this angle here is theta. So that's pi minus theta. And so if we write that in terms of something that's useful for us, we would check to see that f of pi minus theta is the same as f of theta, because that's just equating the radii. And the third type of symmetry is symmetry over the origin. And with polar coordinates, that's just called symmetry over the pole. Right? The pole is the origin. And so what we would want there is, if we have the point r theta here, then we want the corresponding point on this side of the origin to also be on our graph. So what is that? Well, that's either theta and negative r, right? Because I go the same angle but go the opposite direction, a distance of r. Or we can also call that r theta plus pi, because this angle is also theta, so we've taken pi, added theta to it, and we go r units out. So how do we test this? Well, we say that the radius of f of theta plus pi is the negative of the radius of theta, right? They're negative of each one another. So these are the three tests that we can use to determine symmetry. All right, so we're going to start with just a simple example. Well, relatively simple, but it'll help me communicate all the important parts, and then we'll build in complexity. And so the example, the graph that I'm going to start with is very typical. It's going to be r equals 1 plus cosine theta. Now, if we're going to think about symmetries, I want to know, so r is like f of theta. I want to see if I want to test symmetry about the polar axis or the x-axis in the rectangular coordinate system, we would put in negative theta to see if we get the same thing. So I'm going to figure out, so if I think of this as f of theta is 1 plus cosine theta, I'm going to see what happens when we put in f of negative theta. Well, that gives us 1 plus cosine of negative theta. Now remember, cosine is an even function. That means it's symmetric over the y-axis. So cosine of the negative theta is the same as cosine of theta. You can think of, the typical graph of cosine looks like this, right? Symmetric over this axis. So if I go theta this way and I go negative theta this way, I get the same values, same y values. Sorry, that's very tiny. But so what we found here is that f of negative theta is exactly the function that I started with, which means that we have symmetry over the polar axis. And that's really useful because that means we're only going to have to draw half of a curve so we can get the other piece by just reflecting over the polar axis. Now, we can think about testing some of the other symmetries for sure, which means that let's see if it's also symmetric over the theta equals pi over 2 line. So to do that, I'll just do that in a different color. So if I want to try, is this symmetric over theta equals pi over 2 line? That means that I'm going to test into my function f of pi minus theta and see if that's equal to, we don't know, will that equal to f of theta? So we go to our function and I'm going to put in pi minus theta into my angle. Now, if you think about this, sorry about that. Cosine of pi minus theta is not cosine theta because here's, let's say this is theta. Cosine of theta is the x-coordinate of that point, right? That's the cosine, x-coordinate. If I go to pi minus theta, the x-coordinate of this point is going to be negative. It's going to be negative xy. So that is not the same thing as cosine of theta. So this is not symmetric about the line theta equals pi over 2. Now, I don't need to test the origin because for something to be symmetric over the origin, that means it's symmetric over both the pi over 2 axis and the polar axis, both over x and y. So, but since I'm failing the y, this is just going to be symmetric over Okay, so I don't know what happened with the other video. Something went wrong, so I'm going to continue it here. We were looking at r equals 1 plus cosine theta, and we saw that we have symmetry over the polar axis. So that means I really only need to think about theta between 0 and pi, because that'll give me the top part of the graph, and then I can reflect it over the polar axis or the x-axis in the rectangular coordinate system to get the bottom part. And the way that I'm going to do this is a little different. Instead of a t-table with our theta values, I'm going to graph theta along this kind of x-axis, so a theta axis versus r. And I'm going to put in angles from 0 to pi. I'm just going to put in, let's say, pi over 2 here, 3 pi over 4, and pi over 4 into my function. So when theta is 0, we know that r will be 1 plus cosine of 0. Cosine of 0 is 1. That will make r equal to 2. So we know we start at 2 for r. And this will give us an idea of how r is changing with respect to theta. I'm going to move over to theta equals pi over 4. We could do more angles if we wanted to, but I'm just going to try these 5. So r equals 1 plus cosine of pi over 4, or 1 plus root 2 over 2. That's a little bit smaller than 2, so I know that at pi over 4, maybe we're over here, and that'll be 1 plus root 2 over 2. When theta is pi over 2, r will be 1 plus the cosine of pi over 2, which is 0, so this will just be 1. And so this has gone down to, let's say, 1. When theta is 3 pi over 4, r will be 1 plus the cosine of 3 pi over 4, or 1 minus root 2 over 2, so a little bit less than 1. And then finally, when theta is equal to pi, r will be 1 plus the cosine of pi. Cosine of pi is -1, so this will just be 0, and we're down to 0. So we know that r is decreasing as theta is increasing from 0 to pi. I'm not quite sure how it's decreasing. Maybe we can use some calculus later on to figure that out. But if I now move to the polar coordinate system, so let me try to draw that. And so this is going to mean that we are now measuring any point here will have coordinates r theta. So when theta is 0, we know that the radius is going to be 2. So I know right now that we have a point here. When theta is 0, r is 2. So that's the point 2, 0. When theta is pi over 4, so that means we're going this way, theta is pi over 4, r is a little bit less than 2. So if 2 is, let's say 1 is here, 2 is here, r is going to be a little bit smaller than that. And so this point would correspond to 1 plus root 2 over 2. That's r, and the angle is pi over 4. When theta is pi over 2, r will be 1, so r has decreased to 1. Remember that r will continue to decrease, so this point is 1 pi over 2. Keep going. When theta is 3 pi over 4, so we're here, r decreases a little bit more, will be less than 1, so maybe it's over here. And so that corresponds to the point 1 minus root 2 over 2 and 3 pi over 4. And then the last point that we have is when theta is pi, r is 0. So r hits the origin. So this is going to be 0 pi. Now, I only have the top part of this polar equation. That's okay, because remember that this is going to be symmetric. So it looks something like this. And since it's symmetric, then we could draw the second part by just reflecting that over the polar axis. So we get something that looks like that. And that, in fact, is called a cardioid because it looks a little bit like a heart. And that is our first graph.